Hey guys, in this video I'll be creating some pieces of art using only the Copic Sketch Skin Tone set. When I first got into alcohol markers, this was one of my first sets I had purchased. Copic sells their markers either individually or in a variety of sets like this. This one contains E00 Cotton Pearl, E11 Barely Beige, E13 Light Suntan, E15 Dark Suntan, E18 Copper, and R20 Blush. Why they thought these would be the best colors for skin tones, I have no idea. But I am going to make 3 pieces of art, one using the 3 lightest shades, another using the 3 darkest, and one using all of the markers. Honestly, the easiest way for me to do that probably is by drawing hands. Back when I bought these markers, the only thing I was drawing consistently was my hand in different positions. Slowly, I started to draw my hands holding things like a pencil or flower. Then, after 6 months of doing that, I moved to mouths, noses, eyes, ears, and then putting them all together and doing what I do now, which is full-on portraits. But I thought for this set, I would take it back to my roots, and it would be pretty easy to show all of the colors in as many forms as possible. So for my first hand, we're gonna do a thumbs up. I'm going to have the hands look like they're ripped through the paper, just so they're not floating on the page and look a little more interesting. I'm using references for my drawings and just sketching it out real quick. I draw a basic outline of the hand and then try to draw in the separations of highlight, midtone, and shadows. I'm going to try to make it as basic as possible, since I'm only going to be using 3 out of the 6 colors. E13 will be the darkest area of the hand, so the wrist fading into the hole of the paper, the right side and spaces in between the base knuckles, and the left side of the thumb, and the spaces in between each finger. The midtone, or E11, is going to be blending from those shadows out just a little bit. The light is coming from the upper right, so I want to leave the tops of the fingers and most of the right side of the thumb for the last shade, E00. Then there are also areas that have a shine to them, like a small part of the thumb pad, the tops of each base knuckle, and then the middle knuckles. I will leave these areas the color of the paper and try my best to blend into them with E00. Once I have most of the color down, I'll go back over the drawing to blend using the lightest color on top of the darker color, and that's why I work dark to light when I use my Copic markers. If you need to darken an area, you can go back over once the ink is dry to lay the color, but you can only go so far with that. And then same thing to lighten an area, go over with a lighter shade or a colorless blender, and you can either lighten it or sometimes lift the color from the paper, but you can also only go so far with that. I later decided to use R20 in the areas of the hand that would have a slight pink hue, like the thumb pad and the knuckles, and I just did one pass over the color that was already there. For the hole in the paper, I used a black Posca paint pen, then shaded the rips and folds using the Copic markers N0, N4, and N6. Second hand will be a basic punch through paper. I'll be using E13 as my lightest shade now, which will go on the fingers since my light source is coming slightly from the left side, almost straight on. I'll then use E15 to blend from those areas to the base knuckles, the spaces in between the fingers, and most of the thumb. And then E18 will define the spaces in between each finger and color the space in between the thumb and forefinger, and then again fade the palm and wrist into the whole of the paper. I'm going to use the same colors for the whole that I did in the last one, and I also decided to use R20 to give a slight pink hue to the knuckles and the thumbnail. Then my last hand is the sign for Rock On. When I drew this one, I separated the shadows, midtones, and highlights more than just the 3 basic areas because I'm going to use all 6 markers for this hand. The light source is from the slight right straight on, and I'm going to work from the darkest shade to the lightest. I'll go back over areas as needed because sometimes I might think an area is dark enough when it actually isn't. For example, the shadow that's under the fingers on the palm, I thought I had made dark enough, but once I had put in all of the colors, I noticed that that area was not dark enough, so I went ahead back over with a darker shade. Originally, it was E13. I didn't think that was dark enough, so I went back over it with E15 and blended it out. Personally, the last hand is my favorite. When you separate the colors more than just the basic shadow, midtone, and highlight, you get more of a realistic look. I think I didn't blend the other 2 hands enough because to me, they give more of a cartoon style of shading, but that could also be because I'm used to using several markers when I do my portraits, like I did with the last hand. But this is what I created using the Copic Skin Tone Marker Set. I like the sets because your collection can grow faster that way, and if you shop right using coupons or discount codes, you can get the markers for pretty cheap. Well, cheaper than what they're normally advertised for. And that's how I grew my collection over the last 2.5 years. If you guys want to see me make another piece using another set, like the bold primaries or pale pastels, like this video. And if not, I'm sorry, because I'm probably gonna make another one anyway. I hope you guys are still staying healthy, staying safe, and washing your hands. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!